Attempts at containing SCP-9388 have been unsuccessful. Due to the transient nature of SCP-9388, it is difficult to initiate containment protocols. However, the successful placement of a permanent tracking device on an exterior wall by Foundation team members has allowed for quick mobilization to defend the perimeter and prevent human entrance once reconstitution is imminent. Any humans already within the transient structure upon arrival of Foundation task forces are to be considered acceptable losses. Under no circumstances should Foundation team members enter SCP-9388, no matter how desirable the benefits of employment within may seem. Foundation team members who seem particularly interested should be reminded of their ongoing contract for lifetime service with the SCP Foundation and the consequences of voiding that contract. Finally, any humans who are discovered dismembered or severely injured after escape from SCP-9388 should be brought in for immediate decontamination and neurological reprogramming following debriefing. SCP-9388 appears to all unknowing eyes as a factory. The casual observer will wonder how the building was constructed so quickly, as it seems to appear overnight. This is not far from the truth, as SCP-9388 does locomote, using some mechanism still yet to be determined. Either that, or it teleports itself from place to place. One way or another, it gets where it needs to be. For anyone unfortunate enough to enter SCP-9388, they will find escape to be quite impossible. Through some investigation, it has been determined that SCP-9388 uses a tried and true method of luring victims within its doors. By positioning itself in a community with poor job opportunities and high unemployment rates, the building, which appears to be a factory, can lure in many unsuspecting people. By offering decent-paying jobs with health benefits, SCP-9388 often finds itself with a surplus of victims, the survivors being left sometimes intact, sometimes partially dismembered, but always dissatisfied when it comes to recounting their recent employment. One such survivor recalled his experience during an interview which was recorded for posterity. Here is one short excerpt, which gives a glimpse of a typical survivor's experience inside SCP-9388. Interview 9388-604C. Subject redacted. Date redacted. Can you tell us how you came to find yourself in the employ of the aforementioned factory? The place you keep calling Sergeant Sphincter's Nightmaratorium? Sure. It's hard to forget. Maybe talking about it will help. That's what they say, right? Talk therapy? Ain't that a thing? Please sign this form indicating I am not a therapist. For real? Yes, I'm afraid so. Okay, listen. I don't like to think about it, that's all. The factory was weird. It was all sorts of fucked up. Define all sorts of fucked up. The day I noticed the place, I was walking down the street. I've never seen this place before, I thought to myself, looking up at this big building that sprung up out of nowhere. So anyways, I'd normally walk right past a help wanted sign, since I got a pretty sweet gig with the welfare office right now. But this place stuck out like a sore thumb. It was shiny and new, and there was a big sign planted out front, red with bold white letters, saying, "Hiring, no experience needed. High pay with benefits and pension." I damn near shit myself. Didn't think pensions existed no more. Everybody's doing 401ks now. They're a hell of a lot cheaper on the books. So you went inside? Then what happened? Well, it looked normal enough at first. There was a lady at the front reception desk. Pretty little thing. Had an old-fashioned haircut. Didn't look right at her. Someone her age should be looking more stylish than that, I thought. But I wasn't in a position to be saying nothing about it. I got up to the desk and asked for an application. Told her I saw the sign out front saying they was hiring. And she gave me a pen and an application on a clipboard just like that. Tells me to sit down and fill it out. Man, weirdest thing was her eyes. They didn't look right. I don't know how else to explain it. They just looked strange. Like she wasn't human or something. They was wide, like a cartoon character. And she kept looking right past me. Can you elaborate on that? How else did she seem other than human? I guess her skin, now that I think about it, it was a bit plastic-like. Almost like a doll. She was pretty enough to be one too. Like a damn Barbie doll, but life-size, and could walk and talk. And when she talked, it was flat, like one of those online robots you can type words into, and it'll repeat them back for you. Text-to-speech, I see. Please, continue. So I sat down and started filling out this form. And man, was it long. There was nobody else in there with me either, I noticed. Even though this place was huge, and there was that big sign out front saying they was hiring and how good of a place it was to work. I just kept thinking to myself, it goes to show, nobody wants to work no more these days. You filled out the forms, yes? What happened next? Did they hire you? That's the thing. The forms went on forever. They just kept asking so many questions. What's your greatest strength? What's your greatest weakness? Sure, those ones you'd expect. But then it got more personal. Started asking, what's your greatest fear? What's the name of your childhood best friend? Have you ever fallen asleep in the bathtub? Have you ever plugged in a toaster and dropped it into a bathtub while someone else was inside? What sort of sexual kinks do you have? How big is your... I see. So it got quite personal. What did you do when you realized you didn't wish to fill out the rest of the application? I stood up. I was gonna go see that receptionist and give her a piece of my mind. I thought she was messing with me. You know what I mean? Like she gave me a bullshit application to fill out just to waste my time. I got up to the desk and there's nobody there. Just a sign that says, applicants, please proceed to section A. So the receptionist was gone, and nobody else was around? Didn't that seem strange to you? Sure it did, but I thought maybe she just went to lunch. So I followed the sign to the next room, thinking maybe I'd find her manager there or somebody I could complain to. She was messing with me, I thought. For sure, she had to be messing with me. What happened after that? I went in through those doors. Man, I wish I hadn't though. And why is that? Well, that's when things started getting crazy. I walked through those doors, and there's this long, long hallway. And so I started walking down it. Ain't no doors or windows, no pictures hanging up. Even the walls didn't look right. They were smooth, no gaps, just this off-yellow paint. It smelled too, like they had a bad mildew problem. The floor was a little squishy when you walked on it, like that carpet was a bit damp. I started to feel water leaking through my shoes and into my socks, but it wasn't cold like you would expect from a flood or a leak. It was warm, almost body temperature, like blood. The fluorescent lights were flickering in this terrible way that made my head hurt, and I just wanted to turn around and go back. But I didn't. Something kept making me want to go forward, like because I'd gotten this far, my mind wouldn't let me go back. But I got this feeling it wasn't my mind telling me to stay. It was something else. Something stronger than me that I couldn't fight any more than you could fight against the riptide if it was dragging you out to sea. Interesting. Please continue. Don't let me interrupt. I'm walking down this long hallway for what feels like forever, and then I realize the door at the end ain't getting any closer. Just stays the same distance away from me no matter how fast or slow I walk. Yeah, weird, right? And I'm starting to think maybe this is a test. Like a psychiatrist exam or something they're putting me through for this job. Because this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But at the same time, I'm thinking about all this other stuff. Like those questions from the forms that I didn't want to answer. And I'm reliving all of these memories. And it's like I'm filling out those forms in my mind as I'm walking down this never-ending hallway. And I can't turn back, and I can't think about nothing else. Something like that would frighten most people. Did you find yourself afraid at this point in time? No, that was the other weird thing. The longer I was there for, the more it started to feel like all this weird shit that was happening to me was okay. Like it was no big deal. So you found yourself acclimating to the place, becoming accustomed to it. Please continue. Right. Yeah, like you said, I was accustomating to it. So eventually I realize I'm in this big factory space. Machines whirring and spinning all around me. Conveyor belts and... I'm sorry, could you go back for a second? What happened to the hallway? Did you find a door leading out of the never-ending hallway? This seems to be a familiar pattern, and we never get a straight answer on this. Nah, I was just in the hallway one second, then in the factory the next. I must not have been paying attention. Anyways, this guy's standing in front of me with a clipboard in his hands. He's wearing a hard hat and safety goggles like you'd expect. But then he's also got on this real fancy three-piece suit. His shoes, too. Looked like he was coming from a wedding on a real snooty restaurant or something. Like he was one of those maitre d' guys. And he tells me that I'm going to be working on the line. And I said, sure, no problem. But I didn't finish filling out the forms. He tells me, sure you did. Everyone fills out the forms, whether they want to or not. Interesting. So he took you to your workstation? Yeah. He took me over to the line and tells me to stand in front of the conveyor belt. He tells me I'm on quality control and that I've got to keep an eye for any deformed product coming down the conveyor belt. After that, he walks away, and I'm waiting for something to come down the line, but nothing does. I'm standing there for 10 minutes and starting to think something's broken. I was about to walk away to go find that supervisor guy, but then stuff starts coming towards me down the conveyor belt. What exactly did you see first, if you can recall? Oh, I remember all right. I can't forget them. No way I can forget them. Umbrellas. Black umbrellas started coming out of this machine one by one. They were unfurled and closed, alternating one after another. It was so strange. I couldn't figure out why they'd be like that. Why they wouldn't all be the same. But either way, I kept watching them closely, making sure there wasn't nothing wrong with them. The longer I stared at those umbrellas, open, closed, one after another, the more I started to feel sleepy, hypnotized. And then other stuff started coming down the conveyor belt. Bad stuff. Real bad. I understand this must be difficult for you. Please take your time. What do you mean when you say bad stuff was coming down the conveyor belt? Can you be more specific? I didn't understand how she could be there. How she could be laying there on that conveyor belt looking up at me. Who was there? My mom. She died when I was just a little boy. I could barely even remember her face before I saw her coming down the conveyor belt. Your mother was in the factory? She was dressed like she was at that fucking funeral. Her face all painted up, looking waxy and gray. And I felt like I was right back there again, watching her get buried, standing in the rain. All those black umbrellas all around me. People crying fake tears, dressed all in black, giving me fake sympathy and fake sadness, when really they were happy she was gone. She was a terrible mother, but that doesn't mean I didn't love her, even if she did smack me around when she had too much to drink. I thought she was still alive at first. I reached out to grab her and tried to pull her off that damn belt. I wanted to save her, but that fucking machine gobbled her up. And it grabbed me, started to pull me in too. It took part of my arm and munched it up with those awful teeth. Everyone I ever loved came pouring out of that fucking machine onto that conveyor belt. One by one, rushing past me and headed into that black abyss that's gonna swallow them up and they'll be gone forever. I tried to stop them. I tried to help them. You have to believe me. You have to. I hit the red button. The emergency stop button. It didn't work. It didn't do anything. It just kept going and going until I was covered in their bodies. They were all around me, everywhere, on top of me, and I could see their eyes. Somehow they were all looking right at me. All of them. Their eyes were all staring at me. Perhaps we should take a break for a few minutes. That fucking place ate my arms and legs, you son of a bitch. I'm nothing now but a stump with a head. A break. You want a break? How about the universe gives me a fucking break? Get the fuck out of here, you.
End of interview. Since tracking began, SCP-9388 has been responsible for at least 2,549 deaths, 928 major injuries requiring hospitalization, 129 minor injuries, and one single individual who managed to escape the factory unscathed. Psychological trauma notwithstanding. Following extraction, the subject, who will be referred to here as Abercrombie, was interviewed to determine how he managed his successful escape. It was believed that if replicated, this technique could serve as a framework for Foundation team members to safely infiltrate the facility in an attempt to further potential containment efforts. Interview 9388-452F. Subject, codename Abercrombie. Date redacted.
Thank you for taking the time to sit down with me, sir. I promise this will just take a few minutes. I'm sure you're a very busy man. You're damn right I'm a busy man. This is bullshit. Do you know who my father is? Let me tell you, I'm not opposed to suing if I'm not out of here in the next 10 minutes. My dad has the best lawyers in town on retainer. 10 minutes is more than generous. Now, please, if you would quickly sum up how you came to find yourself in the factory. Whatever, man. As long as it gets me out of this place. Are you guys cops? You have to tell me if you're cops. For the sake of simplicity, sure, we're cops. Look, I just needed to take a piss. Fucking Starbucks went right through me. So I went inside this factory. It looked new at least. Not like the other pieces of shit places around there. Anyways, there's a guy sitting at the front desk. Looks like he's high on pills or something. Eyes wide as frickin' dinner plates. So I go up to him and ask him for the bathroom. And he says to go down the hall to the left. I go through these double doors and start walking down this long hallway. I'm thinking there's gonna be a bathroom somewhere sooner or later, but there's nothing. Did you find yourself having any flashbacks during this time in the hallway? Did memories from your past come rushing back with a flood of emotions? No, man. I just kept thinking about how bad I needed to take that piss. Couldn't really focus on much else. Interesting. What happened next? I ended up in this big factory space all of a sudden, and I got no memory of how I got there. But there's this guy standing in front of me all fancy like a butler with the clipboard and a hard hat on his head. He says to me I'm gonna be working the line, but I was like, fuck that, bro. I just needed the can. And he starts getting all aggro on me. Tells me I'm part of the horde now. Whatever the fuck that means. I kicked him in the pecker. You kicked him in the... You heard me, bro. You want some? No, I'm good. So, how did you manage to escape the place? Did anyone come after you after that? Nah, bro. I just opened my eyes and I was standing outside. Fucking pissed myself, though. That was embarrassing. Having pissed myself since college.
End of interview. Following extensive investigation, SCP Foundation Management has determined that infiltrating SCP-9388 may be feasible in the coming days. Several insights have been gleaned from interviewing the subjects mentioned above, as well as many others. Recommendations for a future containment operation have been outlined in detail, but are summarized below. Although it will be a dangerous endeavor, it is believed that infiltration and containment may be possible using the following mechanisms. Team members entering SCP-9388 during Project Codename Xavier would be required to have a full bladder. It seems that physiological stimuli such as the need to urinate may cause the hypnotic programming and memory extraction of SCP-9388 to have less significant effects. Only the most devoted and seasoned SCP Foundation team members should be assigned for this theoretical mission, as the abilities of SCP-9388 to lure potential candidates for employment is well recognized. It should be noted that during early phases of identification, several Foundation team members did succumb to the temptation of employment inside SCP-9388 and were subsequently never seen again. Team members should have little to no attachment to any living or deceased relatives if assigned to Project Codename Xavier, in order to minimize chances of psychological manipulation and bodily consumption. Team members chosen should preferably be of low moral character, with rich daddies and questionable decision-making ability, matching the profile of subject codename Abercrombie. SCP-9388 is a transient, semi-ethereal structure with a hive mind capability of vast superior intelligence, manipulating its victims and feasting on their body parts. An alternative theory suggests that SCP-9388 does not fully consume its victims, but incorporates them in their ethereal state into the factory, using them as workers. Similar to a ghost ship, SCP-9388 contains the essences of many individuals, whose disembodied forms are still capable of doing lasting physical and psychological damage if confronted. Several reports indicate the presence of additional life forms within the factory, most of them appearing at least vaguely human, although they can be differentiated from victims of the factory as they have blue skin, oversized almond-shaped eyes, and are at least 12 feet tall. Little is known about these beings due to limited contact and even fewer documented encounters with credible SCP Foundation team members. Although there is potential for future containment, it will involve great risk to any SCP team members assigned to the project. Until that time, Foundation team members will do what we can to protect and secure SCP-9388 whenever it resurfaces. Otherwise, there's a good chance SCP-9388 will continue getting craftier and more creative as it finds new ways to lure in its victims. The size of SCP-9388 has continued to grow larger with each documented encounter, as it is now the size of several city blocks and is getting exponentially bigger with each reoccurrence. Hopefully we can contain it before it consumes us all. Hey guys, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast for more SCP stories like this one. You can also check out some more episodes from the SCP Experience podcast here. I'll see you in the next one.